challenge, I suppose, with classic flies is that you gotta tie them perfect. And this fly is available all over the internet and in books. It is a Sparkle Dun, a 1985 Craig Matthew fly. I'm tying it from the instructions in Tying Dry Flies by Randall Kaufman. The wing is deer, so I'm grabbing a chunk of deer. A little bit much maybe, but I'm going to go ahead and clean this and stack it. Like a lot of people seem to do, I'm taking a few maybe liberties with the ingredients, trying to stay faithful as much as I can with what I have on hand. I'm using a light yellow thread on a number 14 dry fly hook, although Kaufman says that it should be tied on a 16 to a 20, so maybe a little bit big. I have my stacked clump of hair about hook gap, maybe, yeah, it's about right then. The wing is the length of the shank, so I'm measuring that, and then I'm going to tie that in with the fibers hanging out over the front of the hook. Try to keep them sort of on top, but they are going to flare. They're not going to spin, but they are going to flare. And then I'll just wrap back along that clump of fiber and lift up the butt ends that I'm holding so I can clip that at an angle. And I got most of them. A couple more there that I need to clean out. And then go ahead and wrap up over that clipped end. Yeah, there's one in there that just doesn't want to lay down, but that's all right. We can come back and clip it out or just work it in. There we go. Try to keep that clump on top. What we're going to do is make this clump of deer stand up and fan out for the wing. The original recipe, or the recipe in Kaufman's book, calls for a ZLon tail in olive brown. I don't have any olive brown ZLon. I don't have any ZLon at all. I do have some gold glamour madeira. Is that close enough to an olive brown? I don't know. This is probably the one big liberty I'm taking with the ingredients on this fly. But I'll just wrap in a strand of that gold glamour madeira and then try to get those strands to lay down. And you can see that I've got kind of a taper going now on the body, and that's going to shape the body. I'll go ahead and clip out the tail, not quite hook shank length. And then Kaufman says a yellowish dubbing for the body. I've got some light olive. I guess I'll use that. And it's a really skinny little dubbing noodle. I don't want a fat body on here. I just want enough to coat that thread taper, and a skinny noodle will keep that, hopefully keep that taper and not get it too fat. Add a little bit more. Also, Kaufman makes a point of making sure that the dubbing doesn't crowd the wing, that it stays a wrap behind the wing so that the wing will have room to stand up. And then you can take and push back on that wing and get it to fan, and then grab it and pull back and then wrap up underneath of it. And just kind of build up there. Call that a thread dam. And that'll help that stand up and fan out. And then we'll add a little bit more dubbing up in front of that wing. Kind of buggy dubbing. I'm gonna grab that fiber out of there and then just wrap in front for a little tiny head. I think most of that stuff over the eye is the dubbing. Go ahead and put a whip finish on that. Kaufman didn't whip finish his flies, he just did a couple of half hitches and then lacquered the knots. So do a whip finish, clip out my thread. I am going to put some head cement. I do use a diluted goop. Stick a needle in my goop jar and just dab that on the head. So the sparkle done. I'm going to take it out of the vise and show the front of it, how that wing just fans out. Sparkle done, a 1985 Craig Matthew fly.